Ever get that icky feeling? You know that when like someone's snooping on your phone? Like it's just secretly selling your data.
Yeah, definitely. That's creepy.
It's unsettling,
Yes,
right?
it's totally.
Well, get this. That's, believe it or not, how Robert Breedlove, from that Lex Fridman conversation you sent, describes inflation.
He really grabs your attention, doesn't he, with that? We're just so used to hearing like, oh yeah, inflation, prices are up again.
Right.
But Breedlove, he wants us to look way deeper than that. Beyond just this idea that rising prices are normal, he's arguing it's actually like a stealth system. It's eroding our wealth right under our noses, like without us really noticing.
Okay, so not just like prices at the grocery store being a bit much, but something more sneaky, more insidious going on.
Exactly. Like, think of it this way. You worked hard for your money.
Mm-hmm.
But with inflation, the value of each dollar you earned yesterday, it shrinks a little bit today and even more tomorrow. Like, it never stops. It's basically like a hidden tax on all your hard work.
A technology backdoor, that's what he calls it, right?
Yeah. That's it.
I mean, we're all worried about our phones spying on us, but what if our money's slowly being like siphoned away too? That's kind of unsettling when you put it that way.
Right. It really makes you think twice about, like, what does sound money even mean anymore?
Yeah.
We just take for granted that, money, it should hold its value. It should be a reliable way to store the value of our work.
Yeah.
And Breedlove is challenging that assumption. He's suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the way our system is set up, inflation might be like an unavoidable consequence.
So it's not just about us all complaining that gas is expensive. It's about this underlying mechanism that could be quietly eating away at, like, everyone's saving.
Right. And because it happens gradually, it's easy to miss.
Yeah.
Like the boiling frog analogy.
Oh, yeah.
The frog doesn't even realize the water's getting hotter and hotter until it's way too late.
Okay, so we've got Breedlove, like, sounding the alarm bells about inflation. But in that same clip, you shared Lex Fridman. He kind of pushes back a bit, right?
Yeah.
He's got that whole inflation is a snooze button idea. What's that all about?
It's an interesting analogy. He's basically saying that, well, yeah, inflation has its downsides. Obviously, it also acts as this sort of pressure release valve for the whole economy.
So instead of facing, like, the harsh realities of a recession head on, inflation gives us a bit of a buffer, like a way to kind of delay the pain.
That's the gist of it. It's like hitting the snooze button, when the alarm goes off. You get a little more rest, a little bit more time before you have to drag yourself out of bed and face the day.
Okay, but is hitting that snooze button on the whole economy really the best move long term? I mean, you eventually got to wake up, right?
Right, and you might be even more tired.
Exactly.
That's Breedlove's point. He's saying this constant snoozing, this reliance on inflation as like a quick fix, can actually make that eventual reckoning even worse.
So, like, imagine hitting snooze every 9 minutes. Eventually, you've wasted hours, and you're way more behind than if you'd just gotten up.
Yeah. It's a bit like that with the economy, at least according to Breedlove. He's particularly concerned about how inflation can actually mask, like, deeper problems. Think about it like this. If a company is failing, right, but it's because their product just isn't good, inflation might temporarily prop them up. But is that really a good thing long term?
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken arm, right?
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might look a little better on the surface, but the underlying problem's not going away.
Right.
Breedlove's arguing that we actually need some level of, failure in the market, some like creative destruction for the economy to stay healthy.
Interesting.
When bad ideas fail, it frees up resources, right?
Right.
Then new, more innovative, better ideas, they can flourish.
So it's like, instead of letting the forest burn naturally every now and then, we're trying to prevent all fires, and then it leads to this massive buildup of deadwood that eventually explodes into this catastrophic wildfire.
Wow, that's a really powerful analogy. And Breedlove argues that inflation, particularly when it's driven by things like, and I know this is a mouthful, quantitative easing, it can actually make this whole problem even worse.
Quantitative what now? Sorry, you lost me for a sec there.
No worries. Quantitative easing is basically when central banks, they pump a ton of money into the economy. Often it's like as a way to try to stimulate growth or, prevent a recession.
Okay, so they're like, quick, print more money, throw it at the problem.
Yeah.
But doesn't that usually lead to, like, more inflation?
Often, yeah. And that's exactly what Breedlove is concerned about. He argues that this kind of artificial intervention, while it might come from a good place, it can really distort those natural signals of the market.
Right.
Which then leads to like malinvestment and ultimately a much more fragile system.
So it's like, okay, everyone gets free money to spend. Sounds great at first, but then everyone wants to buy the same stuff, and then suddenly, boom, prices skyrocket.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects. Okay, my head's spinning a bit, but I think I'm starting to get it. But let's bring this back down to earth for a sec. Like, if Breedlove's right,
Yeah.
what can people actually do about this? It's not like we can, like, single-handedly stop inflation, right?
You're right. You can't control what like central banks do or, the global economy, but you can control how you react to it.
Okay, yeah.
Think of it like this. You see this storm brewing on the horizon. You can't really stop that storm from coming, but you can prepare for it.
Mm. So batten down the hatches, get ready for, like, rough seas.
Yeah.
What does that look like when it comes to inflation, though? I'm picturing stocking up on canned goods and bottled water.
Well, maybe not quite like that. Breedlove would probably say, like, don't let inflation just erode your savings.
Yeah.
Put your money to work. Think about investments that historically they've held their value well, even during like periods of high inflation, like precious metals or real estate.
Ah, so like gold. It's always been seen as like a safe haven, right?
Exactly. Or even consider like paying down debts.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like a fixed interest rate. Inflation can actually work in your favor with debt.
Really?
Because think about it, the money you're paying back, it's actually worth less over time.
Okay, so some practical tips there.
Yeah.
But beyond just like personal finance stuff, this whole inflation as a snooze button idea, it feels like a much bigger conversation than that, right?
Absolutely. It's about like questioning those assumptions behind like our whole current economic system. Do we really want a system that relies on this constant intervention, on always trying to like engineer our way out of every downturn?
Right.
Or, do we need like a more fundamental shift in our thinking?
Toward like a system that's more transparent, maybe, where the true costs and the consequences of economic policies are clear for everyone to see, not just hidden away in the fine print.
Exactly. And maybe even a system that, as scary as this sounds, embraces some level of volatility.
Oh, wow.
As just like a necessary part of a healthy, dynamic economy.
So no more hitting the snooze button. No more kicking the can down the road.
Well, it's not about like simplifying it to just a yes or no answer. It's about exploring, exploring those alternative ideas, having those open and honest conversations and figuring out as like a society what kind of economic future we genuinely want to create. Who knows? Maybe there are some brilliant solutions out there just waiting to be discovered.
There you have it. A thought-provoking end to our deep dive into inflation. Remember, everyone, knowledge is power. And the more you understand how the economy actually works, the better equipped you'll be to navigate those ups and downs.